Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update from NFL News Now. When you think of Jerry Jones, what comes to mind first? The Dallas Cowboys, right? The billion-dollar stadium, the star logo, the drama, the headlines, and the man himself, always front and center, always talking, always selling the dream of America's team. But here's the thing. Jerry Jones isn't just the face of the Cowboys. He's one of the most complex businessmen in American sports history. And right now, that business brain of his might be pointed somewhere far away from the football field in Arlington, Texas. Because while the Cowboys' defense is leaking points like a broken faucet, Jerry Jones is out there chasing a $100 billion dream. Not in football, but in natural gas. Yeah, you heard that right. $100 billion. According to recent reports, Jones has invested roughly $1 billion into Comstock Resources, an energy company where he's already a major shareholder. The goal? To tap into a new, potentially massive gas supply that could reshape his already insane financial empire. And if you know Jerry, you know that man doesn't move unless he sees a mountain of money waiting at the other side. During an interview with the Wall Street Journal, he couldn't help but brag, but he also couldn't resist a little bit of Cowboys humor. There's $100 billion present value with gas out there, he said. That's why I'm talking to you on the telephone rather than trying to fix our defense with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, that's vintage Jerry. Half self-deprecating, half boastful, and 100% on brand. But for Cowboys fans, that line hit a little too close to home. Because if there's one thing Dallas fans are desperate for right now, it's someone, anyone, to fix that defense. Through 8 weeks of the 2025 NFL season, the Cowboys' defense has been an absolute disaster. We're talking bottom-of-the-league stuff. The pass defense ranks 31st overall, surrendering more touchdowns through the air than any other team in football. The run defense? 4th worst in the league, and they're giving up chunk plays to even mediocre offenses. It's been ugly, and it doesn't help that the team just traded away their best defensive player, and maybe the best pure athlete in the entire organization, Micah Parsons. Yeah. That's still a tough pill to swallow. Parsons is now up in Green Bay, wearing green and gold, terrorizing quarterbacks for the Packers. Right after the trade, he inked a 4-year, $188 million deal that made him the highest-paid non-quarterback in the NFL. So not only is he gone, but he's thriving, while the Cowboys are stuck trying to figure out who can even get a stop on 3rd down. Dallas sits at 3-4-1, fresh off another ugly loss out west to the Denver Broncos. And things aren't looking up. Their next challenge? The Arizona Cardinals on Monday Night Football, just hours before the NFL trade deadline hits. Now, Jerry Jones has been around long enough to know how this works. He knows that the trade deadline is the last big chance to make a splash, to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and change the season's trajectory. But here's the catch. He's always balancing business and football, risk and reward. He even said it himself in an interview with 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. You're trying to improve what you're going to be doing in November and December and January. You're trying to do that, but how big of a price do you want to pay for it? That's classic Jerry, again. The eternal gambler, but also the guy who wants to win the deal as much as the game. He's not afraid to throw in a day 2 or day 3 pick to get a rotational player. And with 2 extra first-rounders in his pocket over the next few years, you'd think he might be ready to swing big. But here's where things get interesting. Despite all the noise linking Dallas to top pass rushers across the league, Jerry reportedly doesn't want to trade for a defensive end. He's shifting focus. Instead, the Cowboys are now rumored to be looking at linebackers or defensive backs, and one name keeps coming up in NFL circles: Logan Wilson from the Cincinnati Bengals. Wilson, a 29-year-old linebacker, has been a bright spot for Cincinnati over the past few seasons, but things have changed this year. His role has been shrinking as the Bengals try to reset their defense. Since Week 6, Wilson's snap count has dropped to just over 30%, and by Week 8, he wasn't even starting anymore. Yet his stats still speak volumes. 46 tackles, for passes defended, 1 fumble recovery, and elite efficiency. He's made 148 tackles on 162 attempts since 2024, good for a 91.4% tackle rate, 9th best among all linebackers. When targeted, he's allowed only a 66.7% completion rate, better than any linebacker currently wearing a Cowboys uniform. That's not just a small upgrade. That's a massive difference maker. Wilson was once a captain in Cincinnati, a leader on and off the field, and exactly the kind of voice the Cowboys defense desperately needs right now. And with Wilson reportedly asking for a trade, the stars might just be aligning. NFL.com even called Dallas one of the most logical landing spots for him, pointing out that the Cowboys' linebacking core has been nothing short of putrid through the first 2 months of the season. No one's making impact plays, communication is a mess, and tackling fundamentals have completely fallen apart. Bringing in Wilson wouldn't fix everything overnight, but it could finally give the unit an identity again. Meanwhile, the optics of Jerry Jones talking about a $100 billion gas deal while his defense burns on national TV, that's a tough look. It's the kind of thing that fuels every Jerry cares more about money than football narrative out there. And you can bet fans are noticing. Every time a cornerback blows a coverage, every time a running back slices through the front seven untouched, Cowboys Nation can't help but wonder, is Jerry even watching the same game we are? Or is he too busy calculating gas reserves and drilling rights? But to be fair, Jerry's always lived with one foot in football and the other in business. That's how he built the empire. He bought the Cowboys back in 1989 for $150 million, a price that people at the time called outrageous, and turned them into a franchise worth over $9 billion today. That's pure Jerry. He sees value where others don't. He bets on himself. The problem is, lately, that same gambler's instinct hasn't translated to football decisions. The Cowboys haven't been to an NFC championship game since the mid-90s. That's almost 30 years. And every year, it feels like the same movie. Big talk in training camp, a fast start. Then reality hits around mid-season when the defense collapses and the offense can't carry the load. Maybe that's why the whole $100 billion gas project line struck a nerve. It wasn't just a soundbite, it was symbolic. It was Jerry saying, I've got bigger things on my plate, whether he meant to or not. And while it's easy to admire his hustle, the timing couldn't be worse. This Cowboys team looks lost, leaderless, and tired. They traded away their defensive superstar. They're struggling to find consistency at linebacker and corner, and the front office, which is basically Jerry and his son Steven, keeps hesitating when it's time to make a bold football move. Imagine if the Cowboys actually did land Logan Wilson, though. Picture him, wearing that silver and blue, calling plays in the middle of the field, bringing some order back to the chaos. That could be the spark they need. He's not a Micah Parsons replacement. No one is. But he's a veteran with instincts, discipline, and leadership. That's something money can't buy. And for a franchise that's been relying on splashy headlines instead of hard-nosed defense, maybe that's the exact kind of trade Jerry Jones needs to make. Not because it's flashy, but because it's smart. Still, the lingering question remains. Can Jerry really focus on fixing this defense while he's chasing natural gas billions? History says yes, but Cowboys fans have heard that before. They've seen him juggling oil, stadiums, TV networks, and sponsorships, all while promising that this is finally the year. Maybe it's time for Jerry to put down the business phone and pick up the football one. Because while there might be $100 billion sitting underground waiting for him to drill it, there's also a fan base desperate to see their team play championship-caliber football again. At the end of the day, Jerry Jones is who he's always been. A dreamer, a deal-maker, and a man addicted to the spotlight. Whether it's gas or gridiron, he'll chase whatever makes him feel alive. But for the Dallas Cowboys, the clock is ticking. The trade deadline looms, the defense is bleeding, and fans are running out of patience. Jerry might be drilling for gas in Louisiana, but in Dallas, it's the Cowboys' playoff hopes that are running dry. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. The sports world has been set ablaze this week, and the epicenter of the storm? None other than Jerry Jones himself, the iconic and often controversial owner of the Dallas Cowboys. For months, rumors have been swirling about locker room dynamics, player discontent, and potential roster shakeups. But until now, Jones had remained an enigma, staying silent while speculation ran wild. That silence, however, has finally shattered, and the words he spoke are sending shockwaves through NFL circles and fan communities alike. In what some are calling the most candid interview of his career, Jones didn't just hint at friction, he bluntly stated that there is a clear divide in the locker room, and shockingly, that nobody on the Cowboys wants one particular former player back. Yes, you heard that correctly. According to Jerry Jones himself, the sentiment is unanimous. Nobody on this team wants him back. The statement alone is enough to send fans into a frenzy, sparking debates across social media, sports radio, and YouTube channels everywhere. Who exactly is he referring to? The name hasn't been explicitly dropped in every report, but sources close to the team suggest that this is a player whose return had been quietly speculated for months. The whispers began when Jones was spotted at multiple scouting events, his usual shrewd eye for talent scanning every prospect. But it was during a private conversation with a small group of journalists that the dam truly broke. He didn't mince words, nor did he cloak his opinion in the usual diplomatic phrasing owners often use when discussing team matters. Instead, he went straight for the jugular, stating that any attempts to bring this player back would be met with resistance from the locker room, and that the atmosphere in the team had shifted in a way that made reintegration impossible. For fans who have followed the Cowboys for years, this is the kind of bombshell that reframes the entire narrative around the franchise. Jerry Jones has always been a polarizing figure, someone who is equal parts visionary and provocateur. He built the Cowboys into a brand that transcends football, but his decisions have often been scrutinized, especially when it comes to player management. Historically, he has had a complicated relationship with high-profile players, balancing loyalty with the hard business of building a championship-caliber team. In this instance, however, his declaration feels unprecedented. There are whispers that locker room dynamics over the past seasons, perhaps exacerbated by coaching changes and high-stakes playoff disappointments, have reached a boiling point. Players reportedly feel that the return of this former star would destabilize the team culture, reignite old conflicts, or disrupt the chemistry that the current roster is trying to cultivate. What makes Jones' comments even more tantalizing is the way he delivered them. Unlike the typical press release or the carefully scripted soundbite often associated with the Cowboys, this was raw, unfiltered, and unmistakably personal. Those who were present at the interview describe a sense of tension, a quiet acknowledgement that the words were weighty and not meant to be taken lightly. It's as if Jones had been holding back a truth that everyone suspected, but no one dared to confirm out loud. And in true sports media fashion, the reaction has been instantaneous. Analysts are dissecting every nuance, from his tone to the timing of the statement, trying to gauge whether this is a definitive end to speculation or a strategic maneuver designed to control the narrative. Meanwhile, fans are divided. Some applaud his honesty, claiming it demonstrates leadership and clarity, while others fear it might expose cracks in the franchise that could have long-term repercussions. The implications for the team are massive. Beyond the immediate gossip, there's the practical reality of roster management. The Cowboys are a team that has struggled with consistency at key positions, and any disruption in the locker room could impact performance on the field. If players truly feel that bringing this former star back would create tension, then management has a delicate balancing act ahead. It's not just about talent anymore. It's about culture, morale, and ensuring that the team moves forward united. In the past, there have been instances in the NFL where a high-profile acquisition, despite being a superstar, ended up backfiring because the locker room dynamic couldn't accommodate the personality or history of the player. Jones, by openly acknowledging this, has inadvertently fueled speculation that the Cowboys may be preparing to make alternative moves in the offseason, trades, free agent signings, or internal promotions that aim to solidify a team identity without reigniting old dramas. Of course, the media frenzy has only intensified because of the timing. With the NFL season in full swing and the Cowboys always under the microscope given their status as America's team, any comment from Jones is magnified. Every sports talk show, podcast, and social media feed is dissecting the remark, trying to predict which direction the organization might take next. Theories abound. Some insiders speculate that Jones is signaling the end of a long, complicated saga, sending a clear message to fans that the team is committed to a new chapter. Others suggest it could be a negotiation tactic, a way to indirectly pressure the player in question or his representatives, letting it be known that the path to a return is anything but guaranteed. Rumors of tension between ownership and players are nothing new, but when the man at the top speaks with such finality, it becomes headline news overnight. Adding to the intrigue is the response, or lack thereof, from the players themselves. While most have remained tight-lipped publicly, sources suggest that the locker room sentiment aligns closely with Jones' statement. Veteran leaders are reportedly united in their position, believing that the team's current trajectory should not be jeopardized by the reintroduction of a former personality who could reignite old conflicts. This is significant because it underscores a shift in power within the organization. Historically, Jones' word was often treated as the final authority, but now it seems that he is echoing the consensus within the team, which adds a layer of credibility and urgency to the message. It also raises questions about the future. Who truly influences decisions in Dallas? And how will this impact offseason strategies, draft picks, and potential trades? Of course, the story wouldn't be complete without addressing the fan reaction. Social media platforms have become a battleground of opinions, with diehard Cowboys supporters split between those who want to see the franchise maintain a clean slate and those who still dream of seeing the former player return in a dramatic redemption arc. Memes, polls, and threads have exploded, creating a digital frenzy that mirrors the tension in the real locker room. It's a situation ripe for drama, and in many ways, it highlights the unique intersection of sports, celebrity, and fandom in the modern era. Fans are no longer passive observers. They are active participants in the narrative, reacting instantaneously to statements like Jones and reshaping the story in real time. Every comment, every tweet, every reaction video feeds into the rumor mill, ensuring that this saga will dominate headlines for weeks, if not months. And so, the saga continues. Jerry Jones has broken his silence, and in doing so, he has confirmed suspicions, ignited debates, and sent a clear message to both players and fans alike. The Cowboys, always a team under intense scrutiny, now find themselves at the center of one of the most tantalizing locker room rumors in recent memory. Will the former star attempt to fight his way back into the fold? Will the team double down on its current roster and culture, or will unexpected maneuvers emerge to shake things up even further? One thing is certain. The ripple effect of Jones' statement will be felt long after the initial headlines fade. As the NFL marches on and the Cowboys navigate the challenges of building a championship team, this revelation will linger like a shadow over every decision, every play, and every locker room conversation. The drama is far from over, and in the world of professional football, the next move is always the one that shocks us the most. For now, fans, analysts, and players alike can only wait, speculate, and watch as the story unfolds. Because in Dallas, when Jerry Jones speaks, the world listens, and nothing is ever quite the same again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates, only here on NFL News Now.